I'll tell you a secret. I'm a little boy. I found that I didn't need, I found animation, and in animation you don't need to grow up. You know, I have a beautiful wife, Nancy, and she has 5 sons. But she always corrects me, saying, "No, we don't have 5 sons. I have 6 sons." Because I'm as sometimes I'm more of a little boy than my boys are, you know. And but I just love the toys. I love the stuff. You know, I love I collect model trains. You know, I'm just a fanatic for stuff. And so Cars, especially Cars 2, being a spy movie and set around the world and all the cool other racing cars, it's like the little boy in me came out in making this film. You know, and I just sort of really wanted to make it really fun, you know, and I just love spy movies. When I was a little kid, when I was a little boy in America, in the 1960s, there was this really cool TV show called The Man from U.N.C.L.E. And it was on every week, and it was just like, it was my favorite show. And I had all the guns and all the toys from it and stuff like that, and I just like lived that. I was those characters. And so that kind of got into my DNA, and so my love of these kind of movies have come out. So we kind of came out in Cars too. I also am a little boy because I have the biggest toy collection in my office. It's just floor-to-ceiling toys. Well, you say that so easily. The story is really hard to do at Pixar. The story is the most important thing. In creating the story at Pixar, it's a long journey, right? We don't just write the script and make the movie. In animation, it's very different than live-action filmmaking. Live-action filmmaking, you have to, you kind of create the script, find, okay, this script we're going to shoot. You go out on location or sets, and you shoot the coverage, every possible angle of each scene that you can possibly get, and then you put that into, and then you after all the principal photography, you go into the editing room and you hope that you have your movie and you edit the film. We edit the movie before we start production by taking the story and going into storyboards, and we make versions of the movie using the storyboard drawings. And we will work and rework these story reels. And that way we could sit back and watch the movie before we ever go into production, go do the animation. And it's a way that because animation is so expensive and time consuming, we can't do coverage, we can't do multiple takes. So it's a way that we can really work that. And it's interesting because inevitably there's always a time when the story's just not working. People don't believe this, but every Pixar film, all 12 of them, at one point in time or another was the worst motion picture ever made. Terrible. But we never gave up on it. We never said it was a train wreck. We looked at it and we just keep working because we believed in the story we were telling. We believed in ourselves. We believed in the process. And we're very honest with each other. And we keep working it. And it's just hard work. But we don't ever let it go. So it takes about 4 years to make one of our films. And probably we're working on the story about 3.5 years of that. No. In every Pixar film, we make our movies for everybody, right? We want our films to be as entertaining for the parents and adults, young adults, teenagers, people who don't have kids, as well as the parents. But they're also really great for the kids, you know? We're really excited about Cars 2 because there is a really interesting level of complexity to the story. It's really interesting for adults. There's some very, very clever, interesting things in the story for adults. But then for the kids, there is so much action. They'll get the story too. See, at Pixar, we believe that kids are much smarter than most people give them credit for. We always aim high. We think our audience is really smart, so we always aim high. We're going to tell a smart story because we know they'll be there for it. Most of Hollywood thinks the audience is really dumb. They kind of aim low. But we don't. We aim high because But we also have lots of funny stuff in there for the kids because we love visual humor because it's, you know, we're little kids, right, ourselves, and we have families, and so we love to make our movies for everybody. What's interesting is Pixar is a studio. It's not a production company that's been created to make just one movie, right? We're in this for an entire career, entire lifetime, and so there's a really important balance that we have at Pixar of making these films and making these films great, but also, you know, having time for the family. We always encourage people to take their vacations, you know, and all like that. There's always a time in every production which we call a crunch time, when we're getting tight to the deadline that you have to work maybe a little longer hours or work a Saturday every now and then. But we always want people to have the balance with the family, and I do that with my family, you know. My wife knows. It's like, okay, at this point in time, you know, he's going to be really busy. You know, even sometimes the challenge is you're home, but your brain is at work, right? And that's a bit of the challenge. But when I'm home, I'm home. You know, and I dedicate myself to my family. But they all respect, you know, my career and what they, because they love it too, you know. And but then when, you know, as I tell my wife, I do leisure really well. I can turn off like that. I can be floating in my pool with a drink in my hand, and I'm not at work.